All right, hello everybody. Welcome in. We are getting things started here. All right, a little late getting home tonight, so it's going to be one of those nights where I'm going to be behind the eight ball all night here. Oh man, this program. Everything I can't believe they cannot even today make things with a simpler and better interface. It's like, why must there be 5 clicks to do everything? I don't know if you've noticed, but one of the things they're doing now is they're trying to find ways to put all the things that you need behind menus. Every program I'm using now, the moment they update it, I can't find something, and then boom. Now, so far tonight, what we're covering is we've got some activity going on in Tel Aviv, Israel, and I'm trying to get the latest from there. I will tell you, I'm not 100% sure this is live. It's coming from a news station. It's reporting as live, but I don't think it's live. I really don't. But this is either live or earlier this evening there in Tel Aviv. See, the scene keeps changing, and that's usually a dead giveaway that this is a pre-roll here that they're rolling that was already taped. But I'm going to let this go for a few minutes, but we're back to this going on now in Israel, unfortunately. So we're going to keep an eye on that, and like I said, I'm going to continue to look for other views that are live and see if we can confirm this is live. The frog camera in the upper right is live. We've got a gaggle of frogs out there tonight. I'll be switching that out if I can find some real news to go in that square, but for right now, hey, it's working. So there you go. The frogs, the cats, that's Daddy Kitty there in the background. He just tried to break up a fight out here. He's the humanitarian of all my cats, and he just got his ass handed to him because he was trying to break up a fight. So there you go. I literally don't even have like my lights on yet and stuff like that. So let me turn all this stuff on. There we go. There's that. All right, we're getting there. I'm getting everything powered up here. I still got a computer down over here. I haven't had time to look at anything or do anything. All right, I'm getting the chat room up. Stand by. Oh, there is so many things to do the moment that you go live. We have another channel live right now too. Another live on this channel, I should say. I need to get the vernacular correct. But yeah, we have another live on this channel, and that is going to be the Chicago scanner. I got it up. I'm testing it out right now. I hate to say it, but I'm basically doing a plugs out test right now. I'm running it just like I'm going to run it, and I'm going to see if the computer can do it. So it got bogged down and quit yesterday, but now today it seems to be doing better. I've asked a little bit less of it today, and it seems to be keeping up. All right, so here we go. I'll get this description all cleaned up in here. There we go. And then I got to put my... really does. It's crazy how, you know, YouTube... They say they allow you to set up your videos ahead of time, but it never works. You'll set it all up, and then when you go live, no matter what you do, if you put the stream key in or whatever, it never works. So I just have to go live, and then once I'm live, I literally have to go in and put in whatever it is that's going on. All right, so hang in there. We are live at this point. And we are going to be watching a bunch of different things tonight as the night goes on. So don't go anywhere. I'm just getting all of my meta tags put in because, like I just said, I can't put anything in until I get the stream started, unfortunately. There we go. All right, everything's in now. I hit save. Now, everything's in. People can now find us. Okay. Yeah, I think if I could change one thing about YouTube, it would be that I could schedule these lives ahead of time and actually get that process to work. That would be, I think if I had a wish going forward, that would be it. I don't like that title. That is a shit title. Hold on, guys. I have to correct this. Yeah, you would think that, hey, Mary, you would think that, you know, that YouTube says it will do it. It says you can set up your whole broadcast ahead of time, and then you can take this key and put it in your streaming program. That never works. Every time, even if I put the stream key in there, when I hit go, it just starts a new video. And then that old video just sits there all night long as a pending video that's about to start. It's really stupid, to be honest. I just really think that YouTube could have done better with that. I don't know of anybody that schedules lives and gets it to work. I've asked a bunch of people and none of them are all, they're all like, no, that doesn't work. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. I wish it did. So what I have to do is go live, and then while I'm waiting for you guys to come in, I have to go put all the meta tags, the hashtags, the keywords. I have to make all the selections, put the town. I have to put all that stuff in there and get it all ready. I'm wondering if we have people over in the other chat room. Let me let them know that we're live over here. Because, like I said, we do have the police scanner up as well. Oh, the Chicago police scanner. Yeah, let me tell them we're live over here, and they're all over there. That's why I guess my notification didn't go out. Another issue I'm having with them. Boy, this is a real shit show tonight, guys. I'm sorry. I think that's live, Mary, but I'm not sure. You know how it is. I think that's live, but I'm not sure. Okay, everybody, I let them know that we're over here, so I think they're going to be migrating over. We had about 10 or 12 people over there, too, so we're trying to get everybody. I shouldn't have probably put that live, but I wanted to get it testing, so I did. I put it live, but I'm watching this other chat room as well, and we've got a lot of folks over there, so I'm like I said, I'm trying to get those folks to come over. Hey, D-Glass, so I see you guys are all over there on the other stream. I do appreciate the support over there. We're trying that out over there. I don't know how it was working, if the audio was clear or if it's even working. I don't know. Like I said, we're working on that process up there, but I will tell you we're having some problems with the different integrations, because when I put in a program in order to split left and right ears per browser, that process tends to slow down the whole computer. I do not know if Tel Aviv, I do not believe that's live. I believe that was earlier this evening, but you can see that the Iron Dome is busy taking down these incoming missiles, trying to find out what's going on there. This very well could be days ago. I don't know. It's being purported as news. It's coming out as live from a news source, but yet I don't see anything else really going on. So I'm going to keep looking for that. I'm going to try to verify that as much as possible. We do have our 50 Cams World Tour going on at the top. We've got Times Square, where it still looks a little damp there tonight, but not near as bad as last night. And there's a lot more people out there tonight. And of course, the Frog Cam, Tel Aviv, Israel, probably earlier tonight this was taken, but we're still trying to verify when and if this is live. And the bottom right is literally a walk in New York. There's nothing going on. I've looked for all kinds of breaking news videos. I've done my 12 different searches, and there's really nothing to show you right now. So we're going to kind of do what we do here. We're going to keep going. If anybody sees anything, yep, that's what you need to do, D-Glass. If I see the threats myself, or if my mods do, then we'll take care of it. I don't police speech until it arrives at the point of being a threat or something like that. So I'm sorry to hear that. I really don't like when that happens. But squabbles in the chat room seems to be kind of the way it is here on YouTube, unfortunately. All right, so I do want to let you guys know as far as what's going on tonight in the news, and I don't necessarily have any video of this for you. But right now, a small plane has gone down in New Jersey, and you know what? I do have. Yeah, let me go ahead and take this. Hold on just a second. Let me get rid of this. Oops, hold on. Let me take this. Okay, let me go back to here and put this in. I see I had a label wrong too. I'm trying so hard tonight, and that nothing is working for me tonight, but that's okay. All right, let's see. Oh, Christ. Jesus Christ. This is not a good night. I'm about to give it up. Sometimes when the energy is just not good, you just kind of move on, you know? And that's what I'm wondering, if that's where I'm at this point. But anyway, this is what video I have. I thought it was live. It's not. It's just a short clip. But let me see if I can get it to come up again. This is what we have on the New Jersey plane crash that's going on. They are calling it a mass casualty incident, so I'm not sure how many people were actually in the plane. Oh my God, it's trying to play ads. There we go. This is the scene. Let's see if we can actually see the plane here. There's the end of the runway. It looks like it went off the end of the runway. Yep. So if they got an engine and a ladder truck back there, an ambulance, another engine, and that looks like a squad or a brush rig down there on the left. So I guess we never get to see the plane. There's the med choppers landing to pick up the medical patients. The good news is they're transporting people. That means people have survived the accident, and there's a chance that maybe they'll get to live. So we can only hope. Yeah, there it is. It's back up in the woods there. You can kind of see it there, center of the picture. Yep, and this is a plane crash. This has happened in New Jersey. A plane has gone off the end of the runway. It's happened a little while ago. Got a lot of units there right now, and here we go. They're trying to get us a shot. You can see the tracks there leading into the woods, and there you go. It literally went right into the woods there, and there's there you go. I'm looking for additional video or a live if I can find it. In the meantime, let's see if I can get any info. I hate to think it's my computer, but this is 2 nights in a row that it's been glitchy as hell. A skydiving airplane has crashed Wednesday after it went off the end of the runway at New Jersey Airport. A Cessna 208 Bravo was departing Cross Key Airport in Monroe Township at approximately 5:30 p.m. when the incident occurred, according to the Federal Aviation Administration spokesman. The aircraft was carrying 15 people on board, according to the FAA. Gloucester County Emergency Management said multiple agencies were assisting with the mass casualty incident at the airport. 5 people who were injured were expected to be transported to the Cooper University Hospital in Camden. Wendy, according to Wendy, a spokesperson for the hospital. Airport serves mostly private passenger planes, according to Fox News. Gloucester County OEM was asking people to avoid the area. Well, it's in the airport on private land or on airport property, so that I can't believe trespassing is an issue right now. But anyway, so there you go. That's what we're following there, and I'm looking for anything on that, but I'm not really expecting to find anything on that. Thank you guys for being here tonight. 50 people? No, I think it was 5 people, wasn't it? 15. 15 people on board. Yeah, 15 people on board. And there, it sounds like they may have all survived the crash. Let's hope that they all survived the crash. Any crash you can walk away from is a good crash. All right. We are watching the weather tonight. We've got some stuff going on there, but no tornado warnings. And if something comes up, I will let you know right away that we've got a tornado warning. But right now, we've just got a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, and that's it right now. Apparently, the the feds have arrested someone. They indict a suspect who went viral for delivering protective gear to anti-ICE protesters on live TV. The Justice Department has charged Alejandro Orellana with conspiracy to aid and abet civil disorder after delivering face shields. The man who went viral after he was captured on live TV allegedly dropping off a pickup truck full of face shields for protesters to use amid demonstration and riots in Los Angeles last month has been indicted as of today. He's 29 years old. He's charged with conspiracy to aid and abet civil disorder. Federal prosecutors said he met up with other people on June 9th to load up his Ford F-150 pickup with Uvrex brand bionic face shield masks, water bottles, and other items as anti-ICE protesters raged in Los Angeles. He then drove the truck to the crowd of protesters and distributed the items, according to the Justice Department. Well, there you go. So the first arrests now coming in, I should say the first post-riot arrests, basically forensic arrests, starting to happen now from the ICE riots. You know, I'm 100% on the First Amendment. I mean, I am a wonk. I am staunch for the Constitution, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. I believe in them all. But the bottom line, you know, has to be that the Constitution, the First Amendment, only protects you from the government when what you're doing is legal. It does not protect you from the government when you're burning things down and you're throwing rocks at cops and things like that. And that's I think where the line gets blurred every time is we're peaceful, we're throwing rocks, oh, we're peaceful again. And it gets to be a real complicated mess. And this goes for rioting on both sides. I'm not speaking politically or anything. What people don't realize when they go out there is there's a million cameras. They can go back and pull my feeds from that night. I had all kinds of cameras up. They can go back and pull up. What people don't realize is the Los Angeles Police Department and the federal government and LA County will have access to thousands of cameras. Not just everything that's on YouTube, but everything that was recorded by government cameras in every government building around the outside of every government building. This was a government building area where they were protesting. Every street, every traffic signal has at least 4 cameras. Every intersection, there's downtown cams on the street lights down there. There's cameras freaking everywhere. Then you get into your private cams. They'll be going into every private business and they'll be asking for that camera footage. And if they feel they really need it, they'll subpoena it. And so what'll end up happening is this will go on for several years, and they will eventually make a bunch of arrests over the course of time on these riots, because they've got all these people. They're going to see that one moment where your face mask got pulled down or whatever. And so it's one of those things. I believe in protesting. I believe in people going out and redressing their government of their grievances. I completely agree with that. I do not believe in civil disorder and unrest, because the moment you throw a rock, it's not a peaceful protest anymore, and your message is ruined. Okay? If you want people to watch you and listen to you, you need to look sane, you need to sound sane, and you need to act sane. The moment people think that you're insane, they're not going to listen to you anymore. They're going to think, look at those people. They're effing insane. And they're right a lot of times. And so that's why I tell people, the best way for you to get your voice out there is not to riot and burn things down. It's not to burn a Target store down or burn a self-driving car that you called there yourself. That's not how you do it. How you do it is show that you can show up peacefully, you can protest, and you can go home. And you can show the government that you're upset without breaking the law. If you can do that, that's called a successful protest, whether you get your way or not. If you can show up, demonstrate, and go home, and nobody gets arrested and nobody gets hurt, that's a successful protest. That's successful, okay? Regardless of what side you're on, that's successful. And I think the problem is that so many people, they think that the pictures that look like it's from the movie The Purge, they think that is a protest. That is not a protest. That's a freaking riot, okay? There's a difference. Riots don't get your point across. What riots do is riots end up turning people against you. And if you go out there and you spend all day telling people, stop the ICE raids, or we don't like Donald Trump, or whatever you're trying to say, if you spend all day saying that, and then come out in the evening and burn down a bunch of cars, what you're going to get the next day is you're going to get Marines, you're going to get the National Guard Army coming in there, you're going to get more police, state police, police from other counties. You're going to get all that coming in there, and the people whose stores are being burned down are going to be interviewing on the news, and all it does is turn everything. It turns the entire energy of the entire situation against the people who are protesting. And most of them are good people. They all went home before the rioting started, but it doesn't matter because it's all intrinsically connected together. So as long as the rioting people are out there right at the same time or right after the peaceful protesters are out there, it all get lumped together. That's not a one side or the other. Both the media just does that, and everybody's out there rioting. Well, no, there's actually about 20 anarchists out there, and there's about 500 other people just running around, and that's it. Most of the people went home. This is where I'm having a real issue with all this. Boy, I'm hoping this is not live. I don't think this is in Israel. I do not believe this is live. I think this is old, but I don't know how old. And I've been doing too much talking to try to figure it out. Let me take another look here. I'll be honest, there is a fatigue with the news cycle too. The reason, the number one reason that protests generally fade out like they did with these, because people don't give a shit anymore. After about a week, after about 10 days, people had total fatigue. I couldn't even get that many viewers in here. On the first 3 days of the riot, I had 60, 80, 90,000 viewers in here. I got one video with 175,000 views on it from the second day of the riot. And then every day, no matter what was happening, the viewership dropped by 50% every day. It was dropping exponentially. And the reason is because of what they call news fatigue or story fatigue or whatever. And what happens is it gets reported on. We're live every night, video. People get tired of it. They go watch Hunter on NBC or whatever. They just don't, they get tired of it. And I get it. I understand that. D-Glass, that's another thing. It's hard to plan protests because they have to be done at the moment. You have to strike when it's hot. But you're right. When you do a protest is important. They tried to have protests down here and people showed up. 2 hours later, they're all gone because it was 96 degrees down here with an 80% humidity and you couldn't hardly breathe outside. It was incredible. I agree with you, D. I absolutely agree with you. The way to handle this stuff is to handle it through the legal system, handle it through the political system and in the ballot box, and then if you have to, as a last resort, handle it with a peaceful protest under the First Amendment. And that's the three courses that you have, and you do it. You can lobby, Go. You can actually contact your congressman directly. You can contact your senators directly. There's a lot of things that people don't do. And what's funny is you ask all these people that are out there protesting. They've been out for 3 days protesting. And I'm one of these people that I like to ask weird questions when I interview people. And I would ask these people, other than marching in these protests, what else have you done to stop these ICE raids? Have you contacted your congressman? Have you, if you're a foreign national, have you contacted your embassy? I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done. Have you contacted all your elected officials? Have you made signs so that next time these people come up for election, you can get them kicked out of office? This is how you make political change. But the protest that turns into riots generally just sour people to your cause, and that's what's happened here. Already 70% of the people in this country want every illegal deported. It's about 68.7, I think, was the latest Quinnipiac poll. There was another poll that came out that had it in the mid 65 range. So it's what they call in Washington an 80-20 issue. Literally, so many people want this dealt with that the politicians almost have to deal with it. It's one of those kind of issues. And so this whole thing's just going to continue going here. That's true. Protests rarely don't start till afternoon, no matter what the weather is. And generally speaking, a lot of your protesters can't come out during the week, so weekend protests seem to be a little bit hardier. But what you find out is most of these protesters, they're professional protesters. They live in their mom's basement. They're the same ones, they protest everything. Some of them don't even have a side. I mean, some of them were there on Jan 6, and then they'll be out 6 months later in California with a vagina hat on. They don't care. They just like to protest. And then you got your anarchists. They show up at all these things too. And they don't care about ICE raids. They don't care about Latin Americans being sent home. They don't care about Donald Trump, other than they like the fact that there's unrest associated with him. So when you got the professional protesters, the basement dwellers as I call them, and you've got, when you start looking, you got the anarchists. When you start looking at this thing, okay, it's really a complicated mess. It really is. It's a complicated mess. And the problem is, no matter how good your intentions are when you take to the streets to protest, blocking a few roads, that's okay. But no matter how good your intentions are when you set out to protest, and I say they because they're not necessarily you, they are going to hijack your shit, okay? They're going to take your protest and they're going to make it an anarchy event. They're going to take your protest and make it into a I'm going to throw rocks at cops event. And it just ends up souring the public to the protest that you spent your time coordinating and marching in and everything else. I'm telling you, who should be the most pissed about the rioting is the protesters. They're the ones losing. There'll be a big riot in LA and they take a poll the next day and more people want ICE raids. I don't think they realize they're hurting themselves here. They're proving the point to the people they hate. Yeah, I don't get it. Whatever. Okay, that's all I want to say about that. I'm fine, Aquarius. Please be nice in here tonight now. I do run a free speech chat room, but I do want to make sure that That we're not just making threats and things like that. All right, so let's see here. All right, Alinsky's rules for radicals. There you go, ding ding. Oh, I hate trying to pull up these sources when it's every one of them I gotta sit here. All right, this one shows live, and it's showing missiles coming in too, guys. God damn, I hope this is not going on right now. Tel Aviv in panic. Houthi hypersonic missile sparks chaos. You can't trust these headlines. Wow. I don't know, guys. There is a bunch of different YouTube channels carrying this, and they're all purported live. Then again, you got ones like Crux on here doing their stupid ass thing. And then you got the fake pictures of all the big buildings burning in Tel Aviv. That's an old video that they've racked up. Damn these people. This purports to be live in the Middle East. I don't know, guys. Again, I don't really see it, but I'm not sure. And you got to remember, a lot of times people will put these feeds up. They'll have a political reason. I mean, here's Al Jazeera. Here's Hindi Times. Hindustan Times. I mean, you got to realize, and even Crux comes from the Middle East. I'm pretty sure. One Indian News. See, a lot of these, and this money control. I don't know what channel this money control is, but it's constantly showing 5 or 6 channels worth of just showing. You know, guys, I could do this. I could do this. I could go on right now and just package a bunch of this shit up and put on 5 streams of videos just playing of old shit from yesterday, and I would end up being successful, make money, get my silver plaque. And I won't do it. It's just wrong. It's bullshit. I'm not going to do what these people are doing. I'm going to come on and do an honest to goodness show. I'm going to earn the people I get. It really kind of it upsets me when I look over here. Here's money control. There's 6 watching. Times now 17. These are all ones with repeating videos. Here's another one. ET now 2 watching. There are not a lot of viewers tonight. This CNN News 18, it's not CNN. It's CNN News 18. It's foreign. And everybody thinks it's CNN, but it's not. They got 33 watching. 23 watching Crux, one of their mini feeds. 33 watching Planet News with their fake everything. Times Now. It's showing old war footage and shit. But people are watching it because there's something going on right now and they don't know if it's live or not. Try Butabatnum ID, Al Jazeera again, CNN News 18, TRT, Best LRR, MILSIMDAY, Islamade, I don't know. These are all foreign sources, and what they're showing, there'll be an attack on Tel Aviv, and they'll show that attack for the next 36 hours ad nauseum on multiple channels. And it gives people a false impression as to what's really going on in the world. Well, I do appreciate that, D-Glass. a lot of people say a lot of things about me, and one of them is that I'm passionate. The rest of it's no good. But that one thing, I like being passionate. I am passionate. You know what? If nothing makes you mad and nothing makes you happy, then just sit there. You know what I mean? I'm one of these people that, generally speaking, if it's something I'm interested in, it's either something I want to fix, or it's something I really like, or it's something I really hate, or it's something I can't do anything about. And so, yeah, I am. I'm a very passionate person. That's one reason I think I've done well on the radio, because on FM radio, on commercial radio, they tell you that you need to be 20 or 30% more animated on the radio than you are in real life. Like when I talk on the radio, my host and I, we purposely, when we get in, going back now, we don't argue a lot ourselves because we both have pretty much the same beliefs and stuff. But him and I will get up and we'll start working a point, or we'll start working somebody on the phone. And the first thing we do is we both stand up. It's a thing with me. I have restless leg syndrome. I stand up. Him and I are going back and forth. We're laughing. We're telling jokes. We're beating on the counter. We're doing everything. And it's that passion that translates over the radio, I think. And that passion is what's moved us up into the #1 show slot. So, yeah, the plane crash is terrible. I showed some video of that earlier. We can't really see the plane. It's up in the trees. Tel Aviv apparently was bombed just recently, if not currently. And I'm trying to find if this is live or not. God, I hope it's not live. If it's live, they have a full onslaught going on right now. But I don't think it's live. I think this was from a little while ago. Remember, it's like 3 or 4 in the morning over there. 5 in the morning. So we'll have first light in the next hour or so. So, and the way this is being presented, you can kind of tell it's canned. It's not live. Jesus, the pictures they're showing. These thumbnails are showing like Tel Aviv in ruins. Stuff like that. I don't know. But I can tell they're AI pictures. It's not genuine. Not genuine at all. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, it's not live. Yeah, they're trying to get all Americans out of Iran. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in Tel Aviv either. I mean, it doesn't matter which side you're on. They're both at war. That whole area is destabilized over there. I want to take a look at something real quick. Let's see if I can pull this up, show you guys. All right, give me just 1 second here. Let's take a peek. If this thing will work. Look at that, guys. There's your global flights. Look at that. You got Israel right here, and you got Iran over here. There's Tehran, Iran right there. And you can see there, they are flying planes between the two right now. So that leads me to believe that, I don't know, they generally will not fly them through this corridor right here if there's bombing going on. So I have to kind of wonder what's going on with that. Trying to see if I see any military assets. See, normally what they'll do is they'll clear this entire space out. And then the only planes you see will come down here, and they'll come down around Hale down here, and they'll come up into Baghdad, Iraq, and then they'll turn around and come right back down past that marker again. The fact that they're all coming through here and all coming through here leads me to believe that it can't be too bad over there right now. They won't fly planes in this shit, I'm telling you. So, yeah, there you go. This is live. Yeah, they even like to stay on the borders, so in case they crash, the plane can hopefully get to whatever country on the other side or whatever. But you can notice that the flight lanes that they use here are very specific. And yeah, you don't see planes flying over Iran. They fly in, they'll land there at Tobias, or they'll land up at Tehran, and that's it. And then they turn around, they fly back out. I don't even see flights coming in and out of Tehran right now, but they do have all these flights right here, which I don't understand what they're doing out here. This is Baghdad International right here, and this show, if you zoom in, it'll show you the flights. But anyway, yeah. So there you go. I didn't expect to necessarily see all that, but we did. Anyway, so there's your global flights. It's amazing how many planes are in the air at any given time. All right, let me double check radar Omega here, and we still have 14 severe thunderstorms warnings. We've got Montana, Arizona, California, and the rest are all in Canada. So there's not a lot going on. Let's take a look in California. We've got kind of a rare occasion, a severe thunderstorm warning in eastern California. Getting ready. Looks like this complex here is working its way into Nevada. It's working its way up towards Las Vegas, Nevada. So kind of a rare thing to have out there. Not a lot of storms out in that area. It is the desert after all. There, that's interesting. Let's check out what else we have in Montana. Near Garfield, Montana, we've got this complex right here that is moving from southwest to northeast. There was 15 on the plane, yes. I have not gotten any words as to the number of survivors, but the way they were talking would indicate that there were survivors. So we're hoping. Let me take a look. Let me do a. What I do is I do a Google search for news for the New Jersey plane crash. I click tools and then I sort by date. And 11 minutes ago, this was issued. Oh, too much bullshit. Let me go to the next one. If too much shit pops up, I close it, go to the next one. I can't stand all that. At least 15 people were injured in the incident, which happened on Wednesday evening. It happened at Cross Key Airport, about 21 miles southeast of Philadelphia. It was a Cessna 208B. There was 15 people on board at the time of the incident. They said 3 people were being treated at Cooper University Trauma Center in Camden. 8 others with less severe injuries were being treated at emergency departments at the same hospital. 4 other patients with minimal injuries were waiting for further evaluation. They all lived, guys. They went off the end of the runway. Apparently, he pulled up and it didn't go up, and so it just rolled off the end of the runway and into the wood line. And it looks like they might all make it. Skydiving crew. Hopefully, I want to see if they all go back and skydive after this mess. This is a very popular skydiving destination, apparently. The reason behind the crash is yet unknown. The investigation has begun. Yesterday, another incident in St. Louis, Missouri, where smoke started coming up in an airplane bathroom. It led to an emergency landing and an evacuation on the runway. That was yesterday. That was United Express Flight 4423, operated by GoJet Airlines, had just taken off from St. Louis Lambert International Airport at 6:40 a.m., headed for Chicago, when the crew reported lavatory smoke warning. The report quoted a GoJet spokesman. So there you go. So we've had 2 plane incidents in 2 days. And unlike some of the other ones, neither one of these had anything to do with being shorthanded up in the control tower, so that's good news. All right, so there we go. Let's check and see what else we got going on here. The lower right corner, that's a live walk around of New York. That's live. And we're seeing what's going on in somewhere in New York. It's a big place. And Tel Aviv, Israel, center on the right center. This is earlier this evening, not live. And then the upper right is the Toad Cam from Carlotta Alata. Wow, what happened there? Sometimes I wonder what happened. I don't understand why this program just pulls stuff up randomly. There we go. That's better. Not really on my game tonight, guys, but that's all right. We'll still have a good time. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat room. Yeah, as far as the Iranian missile capabilities, some people believe they have nothing left. Some people believe they still have quite a bit of capability left. So who knows? Junior, I don't care if it's not a direct competition or anything. I mean, if we had somebody come in 2 nights ago and said, "Here, go to this channel. It's better than this idiot." I really don't like those. But if it's another YouTube channel that would interest my people, I don't mind if you put it in. As long as it's not somebody doing the exact same thing I'm doing, because that's a little counterproductive. Yeah, so I do appreciate you coming in, Heath, and Aquarius and Glass. I got a bunch of you guys in here. Carl, thank you for coming in. I haven't heard of any organized protests on the 4th. I'm checking now. Also, a new severe thunderstorm warning just issued for this one that we're watching here. This one is 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, hail up to 0.75 inches. And this one is going to be in Montana. Phillips, Garfield, and Valley counties in Montana. And this is moving to the east. Carl, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Every video coming out of there right now is showing missiles, but yet the planes are still flying over on the plane radar. So, yeah, I'm truly a little dumbfounded as to exactly what's going on there right now. They're not going to fly planes between Iran and Israel right now, and yet tonight they're flying planes right there. So I don't know what's going on. I'd love to know what's going on. think, let me see if I got some video here I can show you guys. Maybe. I don't know what it is about these stupid news stations and their stupid ass feeds. It never seemed to work right. All right, here's video in the inlay. This is video from a little while ago where they were taking the folks out of the plane there. Yes, we did. Toot Sweet, I hope I pronounced that right. Yes, we were live last night, and we were covering that live last night with scanner feeds and everything else. That's it? That was like a 10-second video, for Christ's sake. All right, well, let me see. If I can get it to play and rack up, I'll show it to you guys. Let's see. All right, well, here's this. This is the fireworks from 2 nights ago. I can go ahead and show you that real quick. Yeah, this is some great video that we didn't get to see from the other night. I'm framing it a little better. Just give me a second here. Oh, for Christ's sake. Who designs this bullshit? Oh my Lord. I will admit, I like this program. I do like this program, but I'm going to tell you that I'm talking about Streamlabs. It gets flaky as shit when you're trying to do a bunch of stuff with it. And I know my computer can handle what I'm telling it to do, but still it seems to be a problem sometimes. All right, and I'm going to check on these other ones. And we've got in Arizona, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning right now in Arizona moving northeast. And this is reported with 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So it's a hell of a storm out there that's just moving through out there. It's southwest of Casa Grande. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's south of Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do fireworks, why not store chemicals too? I mean, you know, you might as well just make it fun. Trump, Biden, same club. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know how two polar opposites could be in the same club. Hey, damn it, Danny. Thank you for being here. Yeah, couldn't find any protest tonight. I couldn't. I looked all over the place for protesters. Nothing. The lower right is literally a high definition walk around New York in the evening. Tonight, it's live right now. Center right is earlier tonight in Tel Aviv, Israel. Upper right is the Carlotta Alata Frog Cam. I know it's a strange place when we have bombs coming into a town in one view, and then right above it we've got toads that are eating like mosquitoes. But hey, it's what it is. And then we've got Times Square. We've also got the rotating world tour, or as I call it, the camera wheel. And I just noticed this thing keeps popping up down here, and I really wish it would go away. There we go. There, it's supposed to say Radar Omega. That's better. Okay, and so that's what we've got going on. We've been monitoring. We had a plane crash in New Jersey. Looks like everybody made it out. It was a run off the end of the runway deal. A bunch of skydivers, and we're watching that. 2 nights ago we had the, or was it last night? It was last night we had the fireworks explosion. I think that was last night. And yeah, that was good. It was good for news anyway. It wasn't good for them. Yeah, Junior, you can send it to my email. You can also just put the name of the channel without an @ sign or anything, and people can just put the @ sign in themselves. There's different ways to do it. All right, let me do a quick check here. I want to tell you guys, I'm always looking for good science fiction. And it's been hard lately to find any kind of good science fiction out there. Some of the new movies I haven't really been that impressed with. And I don't know. I really wish that I could find more good science fiction to watch. And I think a lot of you guys are probably with me on this. And so I just want to pass along something I found about a week ago. It's a 3-part mini series. Each episode is like 2 hours long, so it's about a 6-hour series. Hey Victor, what's up, buddy? It's about a 6-hour series. It's called The Triangle, and it has a lot of stars in it. I was actually quite impressed. There's a few CGI scenes that are just a little cheesy, but I don't really have a whole lot of like negatives to say about it. And I think if you're looking for something really cool that just takes 6 hours to watch, if you're into extra dimensions and time travel and Star Trek and all that kind of good stuff, you're gonna love this movie. It's about the Bermuda Triangle. Prospect. I'll put that in my notes because I don't think I've watched that one. I actually keep notes because I don't remember what people tell me after the show, so I have to literally. So what I do is anytime you guys tell me something I have never heard of before, I literally paste it and your screen name right into my notepad. There, I got it in there, and that way later I can go through everything and check it. What am I hearing? It's weird. It's like I hear something. Yeah, there's some errant audio. I'm going to kill it there. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Well, here's the thing. I don't mind a little metaphysical. I don't mind a little bit of unexplained, but I don't like science fantasy. I've never watched Harry Potter or The Lord of the Rings. I hate to admit it, I wasn't much on Star Trek because it's so mystical and metaphysical and why does this ship do that? It's magic. I'm more of a sci-fi guy. I like Star Trek. I like Stargate. I like Space 1999 and Battlestar Galactica. I mean, gritty, hardcore, flying through space, kiss my ass sci-fi, and that's what I like. Yeah. Rattling AC unit. You can probably hear mine here, I'm sure. being that it's 90 degrees outside with 100% humidity, and I've got about 8 computers running wide open in here with 19 screens, the air conditioner runs 24/7. Yes, Firefly is one that I have on the list. Black Mirror, I think, is the other one. I've got several on a list right now that of things I want to watch, and Firefly's on there along with, I think it's Black Mirror or Dark Mirror, and now I've got the movie Prospect on there too. So I'm gonna check all these out, because you know what? No, I am not on until 4 a.m. No, guys, I work for a living, and I also have private work that I do for 3 other clients, and I run this studio, so I do a lot besides just this show. So no, I normally come on each night for about 2 to 3 hours. About 2 or 3 hours. That's about what I can do. Now, like last night with the fireworks explosion, we stayed on. I think we did 5.5 hours last night. So it all just kind of depends. D-Glass, I completely agree with you. Science fiction it has become real preachy and dystopian. And every single sci-fi show or movie especially, that's come out in the last 10 years, they're all about the end of the world caused by man's stupidity. Every single one of them. And that's why I always like Star Trek. Of all the science fiction shows and movies out there, you will not find a more positive future for human beings than Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry. He wrote a show about our success. He wrote a show about how amazing our future would be when we organize the galaxy and we become that beacon, that shining city on the hill. I think it's so amazing. And that's why I think I've loved Star Trek my whole life. My mom said she'd put that on for me when I was 3 or 4, and I'd watch it. It was only 4 years old at the time. It was in first run reruns. And I just have always loved that show. And I think if someone asks me, why do you love that show? Of course, the first thing is going to be the quality of the acting, the quality of the writing, the quality of the producing, the quality of the idea itself was just all amazing, But the number 2 reason people like Star Trek is because it's a bright future. It shows a future where mankind has a wonderful time in the future. We get to the point where you don't have to toil and work all the time. We get to the point where you can spend your days exploring, and spend your days researching, and spend your days doing what you want to do. And the residents from the firework explosion did not get back in their house till 1:30 p.m. the next day. Thank you for that, Victor. That's something else there. That's a long time to be displaced, because it happened at like 3:30 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. or something. So they were out of their homes for almost a complete, as they would say in Star Trek, for a solar day. Westworld, the first season of Westworld was really good, but nothing after that. That's how I feel about the original Battlestar Galactica. Was really good, and then the second season was really bad. But the remake that Sci-Fi did later was really good. If you like dark sci-fi, but you don't want to go back and do Star Trek, or let's say Star Trek's not your thing, and you want grittier, darker, let's say of all the Star Trek, you like Deep Space Nine the best, you're going to love Battlestar Galactica. It's really amazing. You got to go back and make sure you watch it in the right order, because there's a few like mini-series in between the seasons. It's all jacked up. But it's got Edward James Olmos. It's seriously one of the best science fiction series there ever was, is the remake of Battlestar Galactica. Absolutely, bar none, amazing, and rises to the level of Stargate and Star Trek, absolutely, in my book. just every bit as good. And so, yeah, you got to check that out. Yeah, Glass, it might have to be. Yes, Star Trek was about hope. It was about innovation, and it was about humans rising beyond the sum of their parts. Because it was always about machines rising above the sum of their parts. It was just neat how that show was literally just all about people and the future of everything, and it was just so good. Yes, the original series of Star Trek was amazing. And yes, Mickey, I go back and forth between Voyager and Deep Space Nine being my favorite. I'm a huge Kate Mulgrew fan. I fell in love with that woman. I think I even have a crush on her. She was the best Starship captain I think you can get, pretty much. I mean, she was every bit as good as Bill and Patrick and these others that played the parts, and Avery. And I really love Voyager. But then if I go back and watch Deep Space Nine and I start a rewatch, suddenly that becomes my favorite again, because there's so many things about Deep Space Nine that you forget. It's such a dark, deep, political and religious show that's based in a space station in another part of the galaxy. But despite it all, it's hopeful. It's hopeful. It ends with the end of the big war at the end. And, you know, no, I never watched the Dune movies. I tried watching them a couple times and never got into it. I don't like dystopian movies. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like dystopian movies. I don't like movies where we start out with the screen saying, a long time ago, humans completely gacked up the earth, and now, because humans were so stupid and because humans were dumb, the entire earth... I mean, it's Mad Max, basically, Thunderdome. I mean, there's been 1,000 movies like this made, and it's not my thing. When I start watching a sci-fi movie, and everybody's filthy, and everything's a mess, and everything's just nasty, and everybody F's everybody, and there's no good people, they're all bad people, it's not my thing. I've never tried the new Dune. I tried the old Dune a couple times, and even back in my heyday back then, it wasn't my thing. Star Trek did. It made you feel good. I mean, when you got done watching Star Trek, I mean, it was not always that way. You know, I think what was neat about Star Trek, it had almost a MASH quality. And you guys know MASH is probably the single best television show that's ever been produced. It's literally gold, okay? And I think Star Trek was a lot like MASH in that you didn't know how the episode was going to end. 3 out of 4 episodes, happy ending. Oh, Bones slaps him in the back and they fly off at warp 2. But every 4th or 5th episode, they kick you in the balls. Do you guys remember the end of City on the Edge of Forever? When he had to let Edith Keeler die in the car accident in order to return the timeline? This woman that he had fallen in love with, and he had to let her die? Sorry, spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it, it was made in 1966. But anyway, he has to let her die. And at the end of that, he had to stop Bones from saving her. And Bones said in his ear, do you know what you just did? And Spock says, he knows, Doctor. He knows. And that was probably the most dramatic scene I'd ever seen on TV at the time. And then they beam back to that planet where the Guardian of Forever is. And he looks up at, and Spock says, you know, we're back, whatever. And then the machine says, all is as it once was. All has been returned. And they ask him a few questions, and he just looks up at the sky, and he pulls out his communicator, and he says, let's just get the hell out of here. That's the first time they ever said a bad word on network television. I mean, that was a big deal. And that show will kick you in the balls every now and then. I mean, every now and then it's not a happy ending. And I call that the MASH effect, because you can watch MASH, and from minute to minute to minute, you never knew whether you were going to be laughing or crying. You never knew whether you were going to be happy or sad. And there's something about that in a television show that makes it special. And there's only been a few television shows out there that have come close to mastering that, like MASH did. And I think Star Trek, the original series, did it, and did it before MASH. Remember, MASH came out, the beginning of MASH came out just a few years after Star Trek, the original series, went off the air. We're talking late 60s, early 70s. Yeah, that's but you assume that they wouldn't have been returned back to the future if she was with them. I know we've talked about, I've actually been in discussion groups where we've talked about the end of this episode, and I believe that the reason it came out like that was because had they grabbed her and kidnapped her, they wouldn't have been returned, because the only way to be returned was to fix the past. The only way to fix the past was for her to be dead, because she talked the president into not joining World War II. And by the time the Americas joined World War II, it was too late. And Germany made the bomb and got the bomb before we did. And because we were late getting into the war, Japan got a foot. They didn't go into all this, but this is what we assume. Japan got a foothold in the Pacific, and Germany won Europe. And once that happened, it was only a matter of time. You know, the axis of evil would eventually take over the whole world. And the reason was because this woman, who was played by Joan Collins, of all people, this woman went and spoke to the president and talked him out of going to war, because she didn't want to see our men being sent to war and slaughtered, and they were. And so there you go. If you guys haven't watched Star Trek, the original series, I would love to give you a watch list, and I'm going to put that together today. I'm going to put together a watch list that I want you guys to watch. There's certain episodes that you just have to watch, because they're just really good. And I think a lot of times people will say, I watched Star Trek and I didn't like it. Let me give you some episodes to try, okay? Because there is literally some that are really good, and there's some that are kind of bad. This was late 60s. It was not anything current. But there is just so many good episodes out there that I don't know, that I think are definitely worth watching. There's Spectre of the Gun's really cool, but not one of my favorites. That's one where they actually kind of have like an Old West theme. Here's a good one. Galileo 7. The Galileo 7. This is the one where they actually got the shuttlecraft. And the reason the shuttlecraft existed was because a toy company wanted to make it. And the toy company went to Gene Roddenberry and said, we want to make you a landing vessel, and we'll build the original one if you give us the rights to build the model. And that's how they did it. They built the shuttlecraft. It's a 3/4 scale. If you notice, when Spock gets in it, he has to bend way down. And then when they show him inside, he's standing straight up. That's because the model's at 3/4 scale. When you're shooting, you can't really tell the difference. But I thought that was really cool how they had to shoot that. Anyway, so yeah, the Galileo 7, probably that would be one I would recommend to you guys. Very, very good episode, and probably one for that. Okay, my number one favorite episode of all times, of all shows, all televisions, all genres, all everything, is the Doomsday Machine, the original series Doomsday Machine, because this was literally the Moby Dick story of Star Trek. I mean, this was Captain Commodore Decker had to get his whale. And I just thought this was so good. William Wyndham plays Commodore Matt Decker in this. Best guest performance in the entire run, okay, for the first 3 years. Best guest performance. He's amazing in that. And it's the Planet Killer, you know, Donna, Donna. This is where the Jaws music came from, for Christ's sake. You guys know that music? Donna, Donna, Donna. That came from this episode. When you listen to it, you can actually listen to this episode, and you can listen to the Jaws theme when the shark's coming after the boat. It's the same music. It's in the same key. It's a really neat story, and it's the only time in the original series that you actually get to see a wrecked starship. The reason for that was they couldn't wreck the starship because they got to shoot it next week. It was all done with models. So what they did was a model company that was building Constitution class starship models, okay, and you could put them together with glue. God knows I did enough of them. And the nacelles always fall off. Anyway, you put that in there, and they had to destroy the ship and make it look destroyed. So they took this 3-foot model and they tried to make it a little more detailed. And then they took a blowtorch to it, and they literally blowtorched it. They put a couple of subtle red lights inside to look like there was some things burning inside. And they blew out the whole front of the 2 nacelles, the back of one of them, and they wrecked it. They made it look like everything was out of whack, okay? I mean, it was a scary shot at the time. And when I was a kid, it was the sight, man. I mean, it used to like freak me out, because you didn't get to see, you didn't get to see wrecked starships all that often. And this one here, I'll show you. Give me just 1 second. If you guys remember from the show, this was the original scene right here. This was the that was the Constitution class starship, the Constellation. When they went in on it, it was basically dead in space when they found it. And for the time, this was actually really good, because like I said, we had never seen a wrecked starship on TV before. I mean, literally. And they came on, and as they pulled up to this thing, we got to see this. Now, what this ship actually is a child's model. It's a model. And they took a blowtorch and they just melted parts of it, and then they stuck tinfoil and shit up in the holes to make it look like it was all damaged material up in there. But that's how they did it. And that will go down in history as the first badly wrecked starship that you got to see on TV. I know that seems kind of crazy, and but it's true. And now we've seen a lot of other renditions of it. They even sell, believe it or not, a model kit of this damaged ship. You can actually buy the model kit and put it together. They redid the CGI. I can't show it on here. I would love to, but they redid the CGI, and so you can now watch it, the old show, with new space graphics, which is really good. How did I get into radio? Oh, well, it's an interesting story. I'm a retired fire chief, and I worked in the fire service, and after 17 years, my back was given out on me. I had it with government. I didn't want to work for the government anymore. I found the waste and the bullshit to be too much. My back was out anyway. They were willing to give me, to partially retire me, and so I took it. I don't get any benefit from it, really. I do have a modest retirement there, but I don't get any benefit from leaving the job because I was injured, unfortunately. But I did get to retire early, and I took it. And so after 17 years and 7 promotions, I walked away from the fire service. And then I stayed on for a year part-time to help the new guy get going. But that's what I did. And while I was a firefighter, I was also a certified auxiliary deputy sheriff with the sheriff's department here. I also volunteered in another fire department right across the river. I was also a 911 emergency dispatcher. I did that 3 nights a week. And I was AMD trained, emergency medical dispatch trained for, they call it EMD. It's for the, to instruct CPR over the phone and things like that. And I did a lot of that kind of stuff. And I was a comms specialist with emergency management, and rolled in after Hurricane Andrew that first morning after Hurricane Andrew devastated Homestead in Florida City. I was on the first crew that rolled in there that first morning. We had to chop our way in, and our first thing that we had to do when we got there that morning was find the fire chief and the police chief, because nobody had heard from them, and we didn't know what the status was of their departments or anything down there. It was crazy. So I did a lot of things. I actually drove and set up the big comms trailer that the county had at the time, and I've been in the communications ever since. As you guys know, I'm a ham radio operator with a general license, and I do a lot of amateur radio stuff. I also hold a GMRS radio license, and I participate in radio in a lot of different ways. But as far as my commercial radio gig, I'm going to tell you how I got the job. After I left the fire service, I went and did a few odd jobs, and I hated them all. And I decided I wanted to work in broadcasting because I love radio. I love listening to the radio. I listen to Coast AM every night with George Norrie. I love that show. And so I went to the station here in town that does Coast to Coast. And I walked in there in a suit. I walked in there with a suit and a really nice binder with very nice copies of my resume on parchment paper. And I walked in there, and the lady goes, "What job are you applying for?" And I said, "I'll start with toilets." And that's literally the line I said, "I'll start with toilets." And she got a huge laugh out of it. She called upstairs, and a man came down that I later found out his name was John. He was going to be my new boss. He came down, he shook my hand, and he said, "Come on up to my office." I walked up there, we sat down, and he hired me on the spot. Didn't even look at my resume. Hired me on the spot. And later I asked him, I said, "John, why did you hire me that day? You had interviewed a bunch of people. You had had a bunch of... Why did you hire me that day?" He says, "I don't know." He goes, "I got a good feeling." And he goes, "Besides, you were the only person that showed up for a job in the last 3 years wearing a suit. We don't wear suits in Florida. You don't wear suits in Florida. Not even the church. People go to church down here in shorts and flip-flops, okay? It's different down here. It's hot." And I walked in there in July with a suit on. And they hired me just like that. And I started producing weekend shows. And I would come in on Saturday and Sunday and produce 7 hours of radio on each day. And then after a while, I started training on the morning show as the backup producer for the morning show. And the morning producer took a job somewhere and left. And because I was the only one trained, I moved into that job, and that became my job. And I've done about 7 different jobs in that building. I've done everything from working on the news desk, doing news, reading news for radio. I have also worked on the street team there for 5 different radio stations where we go out and give away books and t-shirts and set up tents and trucks and all that bullshit. I love it all, dude. And I've worked, I do work a little bit with our sports radio station. I'm a backup producer there. And I've held several different management jobs. I'm not much on it. I do it for a while. But my love is radio. I love to produce radio. I love to be on the radio with the host and being his right hand man. And I don't mind being Robin to someone else's Batman if they're really good, if you know what I mean. And my host right now, he is really good. And he's just got it. And I love working with him because we are very funny together. The two of us, when we start talking, on the radio, and we go back and forth about things. I mean, he was talking about, he somehow ended up talking about how we have a female weather chick, and I don't know how it happened, but we always like have these funny things. This happened just today, and he said something about she's the weather chick that twerks or something like that, and I said, whoa, that's full frontal boundary. Anyway, it's one of those things where you got to have the right funny quirk to stick in there. That's the producer's job, besides pressing all the buttons and doing all that. So, and I fell into that, and I love it. I produced a morning show for 6 years, and then when this show started 5 or 6 years ago, I produced this show, and I started. My host has only had one producer since he started there, and that's been me. He's been on and off there for 14 years, and I've been his producer. When he came back, he told them that they would need to move me to his show. So we work together no matter what. And so, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy terrestrial radio, commercial radio. If you think about it, it's one of the few free services you get every day. I know you listen to bullshit commercials. I get it. You do on here too, but I'm free also, right? So you kind of have to look at it that way, right? So, radio is one of the last free services that you get. And even TV is going paid per view or paid per service or whatever, pay for access. So I love radio, and I'm so glad I walked in there that day with those resumes. No, twerking weather chick, sign me up. It was fun. It was a fun little. It wasn't disrespectful either. It was just a fun. It was a fun segment that we did. It was fun. Carl, you do like Star Trek. That's good. I'm always looking for Trekkies. One of the funny things, I've never had a good friend that was a Trekkie. I've never had, like, all my best friends, they all like Star Trek. They'll watch it with me, but they're not really Trekkies. And I'm just like, I would have loved at some point in my life to have, like, a best friend that was, like, into Star Trek like I was, where we could just sit around and bang out episode numbers and shit, and just talk about everything and deep dive this and Deep Space Nine that, and I don't know. I never got it. I've had a few internet friends here and there, but I've never really had that best friend that was a Trekkie. So, and then to find one that's into all my shows, that's even harder. I mentioned it 3 or 4 times tonight, but nobody's brought it up. I want to ask you guys a question, so I'm going to put it in a poll. There you go. I want to know who out there likes Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis. If you like either one, the answer would be yes. They're both the same. They're both the same series. One went 10 seasons, the other one went 5 seasons, and then there was a third one called Stargate Universe that went 2 seasons, and all 17 seasons are worth watching. And this is 17 seasons back when there was 24 episodes in a season. All these seasons have 19 to 24 episodes in them. It's not this bullshit today where we get 10 episodes and one of them sucks really bad. Star Trek Strange New Worlds has been like that. It took them 18 months to make the first 10 episodes, and one of them was horrible. Okay? 18 months, you made 10 episodes, and one of them sucked really, really bad. Then the second season, right? 18 months, they made 10 episodes, and one of them is an absolute piece of shit, okay? What is going on? You can't even come up with 10 good episodes in a row? You got the Blu-rays and the DVDs. Ah, the days of owning our own media. Yes, I remember those days. I actually have the DVD set for Space 1999, believe it or not. I love that old show. But yeah, Stargate, if you guys are looking for something new to binge, something really cool, something neat that's different, and you've never watched Stargate SG-1 with Richard Dean Anderson, the hell's wrong with you? No, I mean, seriously, go check it out, because you can watch it. You can find out where you can watch it, and you can either watch it with commercials, or you can pay a nominal fee and watch it for nothing. It's worth binging. The story goes like this. We find this stone ring that's made out of some really hard material that we don't know what it is. It's Naquita. Anyway, this gate, this big circle, the Stargate, if you will, dials like a telephone. It's got a big dialer ring on it. You dial it like a telephone. And it's got a dialing device that sits in front of it. Well, we found one of these, but it didn't have a dialing device. So it sat around for many, many, many years until we finally got the technology, and one of our people, Captain Samantha Carter, figured out what it's going to take to make the Stargate work. And she builds a program, she makes it work, and so once they make it work, they realize, man, there's a whole universe out there, and this whole universe is hostile, and maybe it would be best if we use this gate to go out and get technology that we can then bring back and use to protect our planet. And they start to do that, and it ends up getting them in all kinds of trouble along the way, and it makes for some really neat episodes. It's not really a monster of the week. I mean, they go to a different, you do see a lot of different cultures, which is cool. They have bottle episodes where you're at the Stargate command the whole time. There's a lot of episodes where it's a whole world. There's a lot of stuff shot in the California forest, because that's how it has to be done to save money in Hollywood. But this show is very well made, very well written. It's full of stars, and it never got its due. It started out on Showtime, on a paid-per-view channel, and then they ended up, after a year or two there. By the way, there's actually boobs in the first one if you get the unedited version, because they did interject small amounts of nudity into the first season because it was on Showtime, and that was the thing. Showtime showed boobs. Anyway, so what ended up happening was, this thing went on for 10 seasons. 10 seasons. It even got to where some of the stars were cycled out for whole seasons. They cycled Daniel Jackson out for a couple seasons and brought in a replacement, and he still had a few little cameos. And then they brought him back full time again. Samantha took a half season off. I'm trying to think. Richard Dean Anderson, he took most of the last 3 years off, which that happens a lot in these shows where the big star doesn't show up much in the last couple seasons. Anyway, the point is an amazing show. The guys that played the commander, General Landry, and they were both really good. I can't remember his name right this minute. He's one of my favorites in the show too. Anyway, the whole thing was, yeah, Richard Dean Anderson was MacGyver, for those of you who watched MacGyver. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I actually think RDA was a perfect choice for that. His smart-ass, not take it serious kind of attitude was what made that show so much fun. I tend to like Christopher Judge. He acts the part very well. He's got a hell of a range for an actor, considering that's the way he acts on film is not the way he acts in person. Tapping, Shanks, Browder, I thought they were all great. I always thought it was cool that Claudia Black and Ben Browder both came from. Does anybody know? Anybody remember? What was the show called? Farscape. They came from Farscape, which was the Muppet guy Henson he came up with that, Farscape, and that's worth watching. I did a rewatch on that about 5 years ago. No, he did not get fired. No, had a cameo all the way at the end. I'm not saying he didn't have contract disagreements and all that goes on everywhere all the time, but he was still doing pieces and parts, and he had a piece in the last episode, and he was in, I believe, let me think, he was in both movies. He was in both of the movies, post movies, not the original movie. That was Kurt Russell. But Richard Dean Anderson did reprise his role in both of the movies, Arc of Truth and shit, I don't remember the other one. Something about time. Both the movies are really good. The one movie's all about changing the timelines, and I love those. I don't know what you mean by the. They all do that. This is something that happens in sci-fi. Christopher Judge, his performance got very, yes, I'm showing up for work again, towards the end, and I love that guy. Don't get me wrong. Continuum's the other one. Thank you very much. You are correct. Ding ding. You're correct, Junior. Ding ding. You got it right. Anyway, yes, I did see lack of effort towards the end with RDA. I saw lack of effort towards the end also with Christopher Judge, and I also felt that Amanda Tapping kept it very real all the way even into Atlantis. I thought she is just one of my favorites. And it's not just because I want to do her. I mean, she's really a good actress, and she's really, just really good. I like Ben Browder. I've always, and Claudia, I love them on that other show, and I love them on this one. The final episode where they're stuck on the Daedalus, or not the Daedalus, whatever the ship was called, but that final show where they're stuck on that ship for like a lifetime. That was a good show, and of course it was a reset episode with the Teal'c character was the only one that actually remembered the other timeline. Yeah, he had to live for 300 years so he could reset the timeline. So, but Jaffa lived a lot longer. I always wondered where they got 300 years worth of Tritonin. Just kidding. Okay, so let's see here. So yeah, I've run most people off. It looks like talking all the sci-fi, but I don't care because I'm getting ready to head out anyway tonight. I haven't even ate my dinner yet, guys. So I'm going to be going and doing that here in just a few minutes. But I'll entertain any questions specifically. If you have anything on any of our sci-fi stuff that we talked about, I would love to talk about it. I actually liked RDA better than Kurt Russell. I don't know why, because I like Kurt Russell. I've loved Kurt Russell ever since Backdraft. He was just perfect in that film, and I was an active firefighter when Backdraft came out. I can remember the night we all went down there in our t-shirts to watch the movie, because it was there's so, I don't know if you guys realize it, but every year there's 30 cop movies. And there's one firefighter movie like every 7 years. That's it. There was Ladder 31. There was Backdraft. How many firefighter movies do they make? There's not that many. Cop movies? Shit. They make a cop movie. Every 2 weeks, another cop movie comes out. No, I don't think I've seen that. Let me put that on my notes. Red Dwarf. I don't think I've seen that one, but I'm putting it in my notes so I can go look it up. I got a bunch of notes tonight. But yeah, when you're going to go watch, let me just finish my original conversation that I got so sidetracked on, because I do like to make it back. The original series of Star Trek, if you're going to go back and watch it, you just want to, if you want, send me an email. I'd be glad to send you a list of 5 or 10 episodes, because you know what? There's some really good episodes, like Journey to Babel. That was one of the ones where you get to meet Spock's father, and they're being attacked by this ship out there and everything. It was a great episode. Kirk gets stabbed, and Spock has to give his dad a blood transfusion. It's a big mess. It was fun. Let's see here. Why did they put that one there? Okay, anyway. The Enterprise incident was a good one, where they get captured by the Romulans, kind of on purpose. The Menagerie, that's a really good one. It's the only two-parter in the original series, the Menagerie. And what was really cool about that was the fact that when they did the Menagerie, they had this original pilot, the one with Christopher Pike and Number One and all of these people. They had that original pilot, and they never showed it because it was a different crew. So Gene Roddenberry was running behind on scripts, and so he pinned this, him and some others pinned this script that would basically wrap around the original pilot, which was like 56 minutes long, and they would make a two-parter out of it by writing the story that goes around it. And in the story, they would show what happened in the first one, which was the pilot. So basically, they took something they already had, and they got a freebie episode out of it, because they turned a one episode into a two. They got a freebie episode out of it. That's the Menagerie. Amok Time, a lot of people really like that one. That's where Spock has to mate. Devil in the Dark, one of my favorites. This Horta tunnels through solid rock and is killing these miners down on this planet. And so this is the first episode where the Enterprise and the crew is not in the cold open, which is pretty cool. And poor Schmitter. Anyway, in this one here, they end up talking to the thing instead of killing it, which is always good. The Naked Time was a good one, where No Man Has Gone Before. Arena, that's the one where he goes to Vasquez Rocks in California and he fights the Gorn. What a great episode that was. Of course, The Trouble with Tribbles. Let That Be Your Last Battlefield was okay. Mirror, Mirror, the one where they go to the alternate universe. And then if you're going to watch that one, watch Mirror, Mirror, and then watch Star Trek Continues, the Mirror, Mirror episode, and it continues on after the Mirror, Mirror episode. You get to see what happens when Kirk gets back to the alternate Enterprise, and Spock has had his head filled with all this stuff by the good Kirk. If you actually get to see what happens. If you guys haven't seen Star Trek Continues, you're lost. It is daytime in Israel now. That's why I've been saying all evening that was all from earlier tonight. I was relatively sure. Space Seed's good. That's the one where we get to meet Khan. Balance of Terror, the one that's basically a submarine episode where they're shooting torpedoes back and forth. That one's really cool. And then, of course, on this list I'm looking at here, listed as number 1, City on the Edge of Forever. That's the one I told you about originally. What a great episode that was. And the fact that Joan Collins, she was a big actress at the time. That was a get for Star Trek. It really was. It was a good get for Star Trek at the time. Oh, thank you for putting that in for me, Ding Ding. Yes, that link goes to our Chicago police scanner. If you guys could please go check that out, throw a like and all that in there, and watch it for a few minutes while you're there, I'd appreciate it. Yes, Star Trek Continues. In my brain, it's canon. It actually finishes up the 5-year mission. You get to see Apollo again. You get to see several of the original series cast. You get to see the Romulan commander in this one. You get to meet her again, the one that was in the original series. It's played by her daughter, and she looks just like her. The guy that plays Scotty is actually Jimmy Doohan's son. It's no bullshit. Star Trek Continues, those 11 episodes, I consider to be season 4. At the end, at the very end of Star Trek Continues, it's one of the most touching scenes I've ever seen in my life. And I think I showed it here about a week ago because we ended up back on this discussion. At the end, it closes out with just the bridge sounds. And he's in that new white uniform that you got to see in the movies. He got promoted to admiral, and the ship goes in for refit. And for the first time ever in Star Trek history, you get to see the bridge of the Enterprise turned off. He walks out, and it's like it's being rebuilt. There's like covers on things, and all the lights are off. All the panels are dark. What an amazing thing. And Vic Mignogna not only wrote that episode, but he wrote some of the music and made the music and did a lot of the original editing. He's amazing. The guy that plays Captain Kirk in those is Vic Mignogna. Met him, wonderful guy. Just, I don't know. Star Trek Continues. I can't say enough good things. Scotty, the guy that plays Scotty is Scotty's son. If I said it another way, I'm wrong. I said it the wrong way. The guy that plays Mr. Scott is the guy that plays Mr. Scott, originally's son. Yeah, they did a really good job. They did a really good job. And there's also the guy that played the Incredible Hulk is in it. The original guy that played the Incredible Hulk, he's in it. And he plays a green guy. I don't know. I found it to be absolutely amazing. And I wish that other people would find it and love it like I do, because it is just absolutely amazing. All right, guys. My wife's at 963. The last thing I ask every night is if you guys could go get my wife a sub and throw a like on her frog cam. Maybe leave it on running one night when you go to bed just to give her the views. You guys know you can do that. If you leave something playing when you go to bed that's live, it'll sit there all night and give somebody credit. I don't know if you guys realize that. I just wanted to mention it. All right, anyway, so last call in the chat room. D-Glass, I agree. I don't know why 440 volts of electricity was running through every panel when we know now that the way control surfaces are, like when they build a brand new battleship now, there's no high voltage at all. It's all just control surfaces. Even at my radio station, the board is not a board. My soundboard is not a soundboard. It's actually a control surface. It only has 8 wires, an Ethernet plug that plugs into the board, and then it has a power wire that plugs into the board, and that's it. That's all that plugs into the board. And then that goes into a blade that goes into the system, and then that goes IP back to the system. So basically, my board is all 5 volts or less, the whole board. There's nothing in my board that could hurt me or shock me. And the Enterprise obviously would have been built the same way. But all that exploding, it's, you know, that's good TV. I do believe that the flamethrowers that they built into the set of Star Trek Continues, if you guys look right between the workstations all the way around the bridge, there's 2 red lights up here that are always blinking or phasing or flashing. these two red spotlights. Right between them, there's a little hole. That hole shoots fire out. And when they get attacked, they shoot fireballs out of these little holes. And if you look, every time they get attacked, it's the same, like, fireball shooting out of the same hole. And I'm like, I understand why they did it, but it didn't take long for me, the avid fan, to catch on. How hard would it have been to just run a little tube up there and shoot that fire out of a different spot every time? You know, or something. I don't know. But if you look at it, there's actually 4 ports, and they'll all blow out puffs of flame at the same time. And it's basically permanently set up special effects that can be used on a whim and not have to be set up ahead of time and then torn down afterwards. So I understand why they did it, but it bugs the shit out of me. All right, guys, that's it. Does anybody have anything else? Last call in the chat room. Please watch Star Trek Continues. If you like the original series of Star Trek, when you watch this, you'll be amazed. Please come back and tell us about what you saw. Thank you, everybody. Really low, a lot of folks in tonight, but that's okay. We had a quiet night in here. I'm fine with that. I do appreciate everybody that came in. Maybe tomorrow night there'll be tornadoes or maybe a fireworks explosion or something. I can bring you guys live. I hope you guys enjoyed me just rambling on. Anyway. All right, everybody. I'm going to, in the morning when I get up, I'm going to check the Chicago the Chicago one, and see if it's still up. If it is, I'm going to start putting the next one up. It's either going to be Philadelphia, New York. I'm looking at some different ones. I'm trying to find towns that have actual call feeds and things like that I can put up. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there, is things that I can put up that will stay up, that will provide good information. Junior, thank you for being here. See you later. Brandon, 7-3s. D Glass and Great North Web and Ding Ding and everybody else that came in tonight, including Peggy and Pam and also Damn It Danny and all of my friends out there. Thank you for being here tonight. And Fancy, I know I missed a few of you guys. Toot Sweet. There's been a lot of folks in here tonight. Thank you for being here. And I will be back tomorrow night, probably about 8:30 again. And we'll see what's going on tomorrow night. Until then, I hope to see you down the log, maybe on the next adventure, or just tomorrow night will work. We'll see you then. 7-3s live from the StarShip Studios in Southwest Florida. My name's Ian, and we'll see you next time. 7-3s.